not, please let me know. There's a chat box you'll see down in the bottom left-hand corner. That's where you can send in your questions at the end, or if you are having trouble hearing, please let us know. I'll be back in just 1 minute, and we'll get started. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for everybody for joining us this afternoon, and we hope that you are here to learn a little bit more about Scandinavia in 2016. During the course of the next hour, we hope to provide you with some different travel options to consider when planning your next trip, and answer your travel questions. And joining me today is Brekke. So welcome, Shar.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome everybody else as well. I'd like to thank you for your interest in Brekke Tours, and thank you for your interest in our products. I presume most of you are planning a trip to Scandinavia in the very near future, and I'm here to tell you that there are so many places to visit, and there's so much beauty and so many things to see. So today we hope to provide you with some guidance as you make your plans for the trip, and Amanda has created a great PowerPoint presentation for you to provide you with further information and help you make some decisions regarding your travel plans. So I'll turn it over to Amanda, and she will take us through Scandinavia.
All right. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. My name is Amanda Hancock, and I'm the Sales and Marketing Coordinator. Hopefully you all can see a lovely picture of Shar and I there in San Francisco. Just a few housekeeping tips before we really get started. There is a chat box that you will see down in your bottom left-hand corner. Now, if you do have questions or need some assistance throughout, please type your question or comment, whatever the case may be, in that box, and I will be checking that every now and then to see if anybody needs something. We will save the questions toward the end. We've set aside some time for that. So we'll go ahead and get started talking about Scandinavia. But first, for those that may not be familiar with Brekke Tours and what we do, Brekke Tours is a family-owned business, and we have very close ties to Norway. We can trace our origin to the late 1950s when Arne Brekke, who's there in that lovely picture, he was a student from Norway, and he worked his way through graduate school in America by conducting summer tours in Europe. Since then, we've grown and now offer a wider range of products and services. Our dedicated staff is ready to assist when making connections to ancestral ties. We offer an array of enriching experiences while traveling, and we try to provide the level of customer service that our clients have come to expect from Brekke Tours. The goal of Brekke Tours is quite simple. We wish to strengthen the cultural and ethnic ties between North America and Scandinavia by creating meaningful travel experiences. And we've tried to do that in the 60 years that we have been in operation. Now, when it comes to start planning your trip, one of the first considerations is if you should travel with an escorted tour or group independently, or if you should look at a cruise. All provide different experiences. Thus, we've noted some pros and cons of each that you may want to take into account when you're trying to make your decision. And so first we'll start off with escorted tours, and probably the number one reason to join an escorted tour is that it really is a worry-free vacation. You can just sit back and relax, and someone else does the driving and the luggage handling, and if there's any issues that pop up, there's somebody there to help with that. Our escorted tours include transportation, first-class hotels, most meals, an array of activities and experiences, along with the services of a knowledgeable and professional guide to enhance and enrich your travel experience. They provide cultural information about the country and the sites that you're visiting, as well as handling all those little details. An escorted tour is perfect for the seasoned traveler, as well as those that are traveling outside the U.S. for the first time. You'll also get to take advantage of group discounts, thus you get more for your travel budget. You'll enjoy a journey with the group members that share similar interests, and hopefully you can meet some new friends. Our tour itineraries are developed based on the experience and careful planning of a knowledgeable tour operator. Now, traveling independently allows you the freedom to travel at your own pace and choose the experiences that you wish to include. Independent travel is suitable for those who are comfortable traveling alone, may have limited time, or wish to stay in one place and explore the surrounding area. Public transportation is readily available. However, if you need the flexibility or wish to enjoy the countryside, then renting a car is an excellent option. Although an independent package may appear to be less expensive, please note that costs quickly mount when adding food, transfers, and activities. Now, cruises have the advantage of being suitable for almost anyone, much like an escorted tour. As a floating hotel, you wake up at a new location each day and only have to unpack once. You can also plan exciting excursions while in the various ports of call. One drawback to cruising is the amount of time that you're in certain ports, along with the amount of people all visiting the same area at once. So I don't know if any of you have ever been on a cruise ship, but when you have 1,000 people all trying to cram into one museum at the same time, it's not a lot of fun. So whatever your method of preferred travel, there are some factors that you want to take into account when you begin planning your next vacation. For escorted tours, you'll want to note the travel dates as well as the length of the tour. What destinations and areas of interest are included, and that can also be used to help narrow down your selection. Group size and what experiences you will bring home are also important factors. If you plan to travel independently, one of the first considerations is how to get from point A to point B. Are you planning to use a rental car? Are you going to travel by rail, ferry, bus, or boat? If this is something, if you're traveling on your own, also means that you have to deal with the unexpected. So if that's something that you want to avoid, you may want to choose an alternative travel option. Sticking with your budget is another factor when planning your independent vacation. Costs can quickly balloon out of control if you aren't very careful. Planning a large itinerary can be quite difficult, especially if you're unfamiliar with the locations and different travel options. It's here that we can really help you plan ahead and make those hotel reservations ahead of time so you're not trying to plan as you travel. Much like escorted tours, choosing a cruise can be a daunting task. To narrow down the field, you may want to review the included destinations, how much time you spend at these locations, the ship size, as well as the activities and experiences that are either included or optional. So when trying to decide on one of Brekke's escorted tours, you can rest assured that whatever tour you select, you're getting a good value for your travel budget. Most of our tours do involve a bit of walking each day, but with that being said, if you do have mobility issues, I would encourage you to call our office and talk to one of our sales agents. We can help ease your concerns and make recommendations suited for your activity level. All of our tours include visits to Bergen and Oslo, as well as a journey through the Fjord country. In addition, you also get to see a state church, which is one of the iconic symbols of Norway. Another activity that is included in all of our tours is a ride on the famous Fjord railway. We also include luggage handling at each hotel, and our tour director will meet you at the arriving airport and stay with you until you depart the tour. You'll also notice that most of your meals are included in the itinerary, and we also try to include special meals such as dinner at a farm or a unique location. And finally, all of our tours can be customized with either pre- or post-extensions to Scandinavia and beyond. Now, if you're looking for a tour in a particular time period, this list might be helpful for you. In May, we have one tour departure, which is our springtime in Norway. For June, we have 6 tour departures, and in July, we have 8 tour departures offering a variety of itineraries. So as you can see, we do have quite a few tours for next year. And within those tours, we have many different destinations featured. And if you're wanting to visit a particular destination, then this page might be of assistance. For 2016, we have two multi-country tours, including Taste of Norway and Sweden, and Captivating Scandinavia, which visits Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. Other areas that we often get requests for include Trondheim, Stavanger, Sarpsborg, Ålesund, and southern Norway, including Loftus and the Hardanger areas, and northern Norway's Lofoten Islands. So there, if you are interested in one of those locations, then these are some of the tours that might be able to suit your needs. And to give you some ideas of the tours based on interest, I've listed a few. And this is by no means a complete list. If you really have a specific interest that you are wanting to see as included on one of our tours, I would recommend you contact our office. For the first-time traveler, we recommend Best of Norway, Spectacular Norway, or Norway's Fabulous Fjords. These are great introductory tours to Norway and cover a variety of highlights. If you're lucky to have visited Norway before, then you might want to look at our Land of the Midnight Sun or Norwegian Adventure Tours, as these feature visits to some of the out-of-the-way places. And a new tour that we're excited to offer this year is really geared toward multi-generational travel. This is a great opportunity to introduce the next generation to Norway and their Norwegian heritage, and that's Norway's Family Adventure. And if you do want to see it all, then Captivating Scandinavia, Taste of Norway and Sweden, or Norway Scenic and Historic might be the one for you. So perhaps the number one consideration when trying to decide on an escorted tour is really what experiences we get to enjoy. And there really are just too many to go over, but I would like to give you some highlights of each of our tours so that you can maybe narrow down your selection for next year. So first, we'll start off with springtime in Norway. And springtime is a wonderful time to visit, as you'll get a chance to experience the lovely fruit blossoms. As an added bonus for 2016, we'll be spending May 17th in Sarpsborg, which is hosting a year-long celebration marking their 1,000th anniversary. Now, this is a 10-day tour which begins in Sarpsborg, and you'll tour Fredriksen Fortress. This was built in 1661 as protection against the Swedes, and the fortress has been attacked 6 times but has never been conquered. On May 17th, we'll spend the day in Sarpsborg enjoying food, music, and festivities, which is really celebrating a once-in-a-lifetime event. We'll then drive to Oslo, where we visit different sites around the city, such as the Viking Ship Museum and Vigeland Park. And then the next day, we'll begin our way across Norway to the Fjord country and the Hardanger region, which is famous for its cherry, apple, and pear orchards. Our final destination is Bergen, where we have a sightseeing tour and some free time before heading home on May 23rd. Now, some of the unique experiences for this tour include attending the celebrations of May 17th in Sarpsborg. You'll tour Fredriksen Fortress, as well as Oslo's Viking Ship Museum. You'll cruise the dramatic Arlen and Nærøy Fjords. You'll spend a night overlooking the Fjord at the charming Ullensvang Hotel. You'll, of course, get to enjoy all the fruit and flower blossoms along the Norwegian countryside. And finally, you'll get to see May 17th in 1,000-year-old Sarpsborg. So there's not so many people that can say that. Our next tour is Captivating Scandinavia. We're offering 2 departures of this tour in 2016. With visits to Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, it encompasses the most countries of our Scandinavian tours. In Norway, you'll visit Bergen, Flåm, and Oslo, with almost a full day to explore Oslo on your own. Then we'll take an overnight cruise to Copenhagen, and then once we arrive, we'll have dinner and entertainment. We'll have dinner and entertainment on board the ship, but we'll also have dinner at Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen. So on your sightseeing tour of Copenhagen, you'll learn that Copenhagen has a colorful history and actually dates back to more than 6,000 years. We'll then continue on to Sweden. Your first night in Sweden will be at the lovely Tolstaholm Manor before we head to Kosta Boda and the Kingdom of Crystal. The next 2 nights are spent in Gothenburg, where you'll have a day to enjoy and explore all on your own. In the evening, we'll have a dinner cruise, and then the next day we'll head to Stockholm, where the tour ends after a 2-night stay. So this is a great tour if you want to experience all 3 countries at once. Extra experiences, of course, include dinner at the Tivoli Gardens, a tour of Frederiksborg Castle, a night in a Swedish manor house, and a visit to Costa Boda for a hit-fill lunch. You'll also have free time in Gothenburg to kind of pick and choose what you want to see. You'll have a dinner cruise, and you'll get to visit Stockholm and tour the Vasa Ship Museum. So one of our new tours for 2016 is Land of the Midnight Sun, which features visits to northern Norway. This tour departs June 13th in Trondheim and returns from Tromsø on June 25th. After 2 nights in Trondheim, we'll travel north along the western coast of Norway, past Stiklestad, Namsos, and Mo i Rana. It's here that we'll cross over the Arctic Circle, which marks the boundary of the midnight sun of the Arctic summer and the sunless winters in the north. This is the most northernmost extent for several species of flora and fauna, and it's because of it's limited by the Arctic climate and mountain range. The Arctic Center in Långsdalen provides a visual presentation of the flora, fauna, and countryside north of the Arctic Circle. So you'll get to say that you went north of the Arctic Circle on this tour. So making our way even further north, we'll spend a day in the picturesque Lofoten Islands. Lofoten is known for its excellent fishing and natural attractions, small villages off the beaten track, and whale safaris. In Narvik, we'll tour the World War II Museum and the North Norway Boat Museum before arriving at the Arctic capital of Tromsø. Also known as Paris of the North, Tromsø skyline is highlighted by the Arctic Cathedral, which was built in 1965 and is inspired by Arctic nature. The Return of Christ glass mosaic window dominates the interior. After 2 nights in Tromsø, it's time to say goodbye to northern Norway and you board a flight for home. So this really is a unique land tour, which gives you the opportunity to explore a few places outsiders get to experience. In addition to the fantastic natural setting of the Lofoten Islands, you'll get to see the Nidaros Cathedral in Trondheim, Stiklestad, and the Arctic Cathedral in Tromsø. You'll also get to learn more about the German occupation of Norway during World War II throughout this tour. Now, Spectacular Norway is one of our most popular tours, and it's a great introductory tour for first-time visitors. It's similar to our Best of Norway tour, but instead of heading south to Stavanger, it actually heads north to Trondheim. So after spending 2 nights in Oslo, you'll head north through the Hallingdal and Ireland valleys to Flåm. After riding the Flåm Railway, which National Geographic Traveler magazine named as one of the top 10 train journeys in Europe, you'll arrive in Volst for dinner and overnight at the lovely Fleischers Hotel. The next day, you'll visit Bergen, and then you'll head north over the Vik Mountains and across the Fjord to Brekke Glacier. So the next day, you'll want to have your camera ready as you cruise the Fjord past the Seven Sisters Waterfall, wildlife, and quaint villages. Then you'll drive the Eagle Road and Trolls Path, which are famous for its steep and narrow hairpin bends. En route to Trondheim, you'll drive over the Atlantic Ocean Road and stop in Bud for a visit to Ørgen Kystfort, a bunker which was built by the Germans during World War II. The tour concludes in Trondheim, the Viking capital of Norway, until 12/17. So quite a bit of Norway is included on this 10-day tour. You'll start in Oslo. You'll visit the Folk Museum, which is Norway's largest museum of cultural history, featuring the world's oldest open-air museum and large indoor collections. You'll ride the Flåm Railway through fantastic nature, including steep mountains, breathtaking waterfalls, and through 20 tunnels. Other highlights include a visit to Brekke Glacier, a cruise on the Fjord, driving the Golden Route and Trolls Path, and looking back at history at Ørgen Kystfort. You'll also get to see the fantastic sculptures and hear the stories behind the Nidaros Cathedral in Trondheim. Now, Splendor of Norway is our shortest tour at 9 days and is ideal for those wanting to get a sample of Norway before exploring their heritage sites independently or combining their tour with a cruise or extension to Sweden or Denmark. Starting in Bergen, you'll travel to Voss, where you will board the railway to Flåm. After arriving in Flåm, you'll cruise the Fjord to Balestrand for an overnight at the Kviknes Hotel. And dinner at this hotel will be pretty good, so you're going to enjoy a great meal there. The next day, you'll ferry across the fjord and continue on to the Hardanger Nature Center and a visit to Kiosen Mountain Farm. And tonight, you'll get to spend the night at Ullensvang Hotel. Now, while you're at this hotel, be sure to search out the life-size wooden statues of Edvard Grieg and his entourage, which is next to the timber hut where Grieg frequently visited and worked. On day 6, we'll drive through the Telemark region and visit the Industrial Museum in Rjukan. We'll tour the Ski Adventure Museum before enjoying dinner and overnight at the Morgedal Hotel. The next day, we'll tour the Hedal State Church, which is Norway's largest state church, en route to Oslo, for a 2-night stay at the Grand Hotel. The next day is spent sightseeing in Oslo, and you get to visit Vigeland Sculpture Park as well as the Viking Ship Museum. So some of the highlights for this 9-day tour include a cruise of the Sogne Fjord, an overnight at Kviknes Hotel, and the Ullensvang Hotel in Loftus. You'll tour the Hedal State Church as well as the Hardanger Nature Center. You'll learn more about the history of skiing at the Ski Adventure Museum in Morgedal, and we do allow for some free time in Bergen and Oslo throughout this tour. So one of our 3 new tour itineraries from 2015 was Norway's fabulous fjords. And this tour is designed specifically for those that want to experience as many of Norway's fjords as possible in a short time period. This is an 11-day tour and includes visits to 6 fjords, including overnights in fjordside hotels, including the Union Hotel overlooking the Geiranger Fjord, the Ullensvang Hotel next to the Storfjord, and the Solstrand Hotel along the beautiful Fjord. Too many fjords. After 2 nights in Oslo, you'll head to Lillehammer. En route, you'll stop at Hadeland Glassworks, which is the oldest industrial company in Norway, and it can claim continuous operations since its foundation back in 1762. From the glassworks, you'll continue north to a local farm for a tour and a traditional Norwegian middag, which is lunch. Upon arriving in Lillehammer, you'll visit the sites of the 1994 Olympics before you continue on to your hotel. The next morning, we'll drive through the Gudbrandsdal and Oda valleys to Lom. You can visit the Stone Center or the State Church before continuing to Dalsneva Observation Point for a wonderful view of the Geiranger Fjord. The next day, we'll take an excursion to Ålesund, which is famous for its Art Nouveau architecture. You'll spend another night overlooking the Geiranger Fjord before continuing to Flåm on day 7. After 2 nights in Flåm, you'll travel by train to Voss and then drive south to Loftus. You'll overnight at the Ullensvang Hotel right on the Storfjord. The next 2 days include a variety of activities, including a visit to a fruit farm, which has been operated by the same family for 8 generations. You'll also visit the Hardanger Aqua Center to learn about fish farming, and you'll tour the gateway to the fjords, Bergen. So some of the unique experiences for this tour include visits to Ålesund, Steinstove Fruit Farm, and a fish farm. You'll also enjoy overnight at some of Norway's most scenic fjordside hotels. So Best of Norway is a wonderful tour for the first-time visitor, especially if you want to include a visit to Stavanger. It's an 11-day tour which starts in Oslo, then travels north to Lillehammer. Before reaching Lillehammer, you'll stop at a farm and enjoy a tour along with dinner. From Lillehammer, you'll travel the Gudbrandsdal and Oda valleys to Lom. You'll stop here for a chance to visit the Lom State Church. You'll drive across the Goatley Mountains to the fjord country, and if the weather is permitting, you'll drive to the Dalsneva Observation Point for a view of the Geiranger Fjord. The next morning, you'll take a troll cart up to the Brekke Glacier. You'll continue on to Audhild Deacon's Weaving Workshop, which is a great place to pick up souvenirs for everyone back home. The next day is you will partake in the Norway in a Nutshell adventure, which is a train ride to Flåm, a cruise on the Ireland and Neri Fjords, and then ride the thrilling Stalheim Road back to Voss. From Voss, you'll continue to Bergen for a city tour before heading south to Stavanger. On the way to Stavanger, you'll visit the Norwegian History Center, which is home of the first Viking kings of Norway in Avaldsnes, and you'll see the legendary figures who appear so often in sagas and songs. You'll spend 2 nights in Stavanger before returning to the U.S. Some of the experiences you can expect on this tour include a tour of the Folk Museum in Oslo, a farm dinner, a visit to Holland Glassworks. You can tour the Stone Museum in Lom. If that's not really your thing, then you can check out the church. You get a full Norway in a nutshell experience, along with a walk through the Bergen's Hanseatic Wharf, and you can visit the Norwegian History Center to learn about the first Viking kings. So, Taste of Norway and Sweden offers a sample of each country while ensuring that you travel with a small group. And this year we have reversed the itinerary, going from Stockholm to Bergen. So you begin in Stockholm with a visit to the Vasa Museum. Then you depart Stockholm and drive to the old university town of Uppsala for a tour of the inspiring cathedral. The cathedral actually dates back to the 13th century, and at a height of 389 feet, it is the tallest church building in the Nordic countries and in Scandinavia. You'll continue to Sundborn, home of Carl Larsson, one of Sweden's most beloved artists. He and his wife Karen moved to the picturesque house, and it became their mutual art project. Their garden is now a paradise for art lovers and anyone with an interest in designing and gardening. You'll proceed to Dalarna, which epitomizes all things Swedish. You'll stop for a tour of the Dala Horse Center. In the old days, the Dala horse was mostly used as a toy for children, but in modern times, it's become a symbol of Dalarna as well as Sweden in general. You'll continue west to Oslo, where we spend 2 nights before heading into Norway's Fjord country. En route to Bergen, you'll experience the Norway in a nutshell adventure, and your tour ends on day 10 in Bergen. So for those interested in visiting both Sweden and Norway, this is a great option. The group size is limited to 28 people, as this is a small group tour. You'll also get to visit a variety of places in Sweden, including Stockholm, Uppsala, Sundborn, and the Värmland province. So one of our new tours for 2016 is Norway's Family Adventure. And we designed this tour in mind with families in mind. So you'll find a variety of family-friendly activities that we hope will please everyone. Starting in Bergen, you'll head east, and enjoy a variety of activities. So after a walk through the Hanseatic Wharf, we head to Voss, and we'll have a 3-hour rafting adventure on the Vossa River. It's appropriate for all ages, and it's a general rafting adventure which is suitable for almost anyone. You'll board the Oslo-Bergen Railway, and then continue on to Myrdal. Here we'll board the famous Fjord Railway, and descend 2,800 feet within 13 miles to the Flom Valley. After a day in Flom, we'll head to Fagernes and visit the Borgund Stave Church, one of the best preserved of the remaining stave churches. Day 7 promises to be fun for kids of all ages as we head to Hunderfossen Family Park. It's guarded by a 45-foot tall troll, and it keeps the treasures of the Norwegian folk stories safe. We'll continue our tour of Norway the next day as we drive to Lillehammer for a visit of the 1994 Winter Olympic sites, and then our final destination is Oslo, with the tour ends on day 10. So highlights of this tour include a family rafting trip as well as a day at Hunderfossen Family Park. You and your family will also enjoy a ride on the Flom Railway, a fjord cruise, and sightseeing in Oslo and Bergen. So if you have family members that you'd like to introduce to Norway, this could be a great tour for you and your family. Norwegian Adventure was another new tour from this year that we're offering again in 2016. On this tour, you'll experience Norway's unique culture, stunning architecture, and natural wonders. So we begin in Bergen, where we'll experience the colorful fish market before we head to Flom on the Flom Railway. We'll ferry across the Sogne Fjord for an afternoon excursion on the troll carts to Brixel Glacier. We'll continue on to Ålesund, but before we arrive, we'll stop at the Norwegian Fjord Horse Center, which is the national center for the native Norwegian horse breed. The center provides information and advice on all aspects related to the fjord horse. The center is also dedicated to the development in new areas of usage, breaking, and education, as well as to further the breeding of the fjord horse. Following Ellison, we'll cruise the Geiranger Fjord and drive to the Dalsnø observation point. We'll drive south for an overnight at the Elfaseter Hotel, which is located in the Jotunheimen National Park. We'll continue to Oslo, but en route we'll stop to visit a stave church in the Gudbrandsdal Valley, and we'll have lunch at a local farm, as well as a tour of Maihaugen, an open-air museum with 200 old and new buildings, exhibitions, and more. We'll enjoy dinner at a local farm before arriving in Oslo, where we'll spend the last 2 nights before heading home. So some of the many highlights of this tour include a visit to Ellison. We'll also visit the Norwegian Fjord Horse Center to learn more about Norway's native horse breed. And finally, spending a night overlooking the Jotunheimen National Park is something that you won't soon forget. Now, our Sogn Valdres Heritage Tour is recommended for people with ancestral roots in these specific areas. It provides an in-depth look into various areas within these regions and allows time for family heritage visits. You'll also travel with our genealogist, Jean Marthaler, who can provide assistance in locating your family's ancestors, heritage sites, and more. So typically this tour includes a small group of people focused on finding their family's farm, churches, and other sites. Quite a lot of personal service goes into this tour, and we do encourage that if you're thinking about joining this tour to please contact us and speak with one of our staff members. There are a number of church and museum visits included in this tour. Church visits include Voss, Underdal, Blom, Hopperstad, Ernest, and Borgen. So folk museum visits include the Voss and Valdres Folk Museum, as well as the Oderness Farm. And so I'm really not going to go into a lot of detail on this tour, as it really is a very specialized tour. If you would like more information, I would encourage you to call and talk with one of us. We can pass you on also to Jean or even Arnie Brekke if you need some more information. So along with the chance to walk in your ancestors' footsteps, this tour allows you to travel with a genealogist and visit a variety of churches and folk museums within Norway. And finally, Norway Scenic and Historic. And this is probably our most comprehensive tour of Norway. It's also become one of our most popular tours in the past couple of years, thanks to a little movie known as Frozen. So this tour starts off in Bergen before heading to Voss and Flom. From Flom, you'll drive through the world's second longest tunnel and then ferry across the Sogne Fjord, which is Norway's longest fjord. Between Loen and Trondheim, you'll cruise the Geiranger Fjord, drive to Troll's Path, and overnight in Molde. The next day, you'll drive the Atlantic Ocean Road, and this road opened actually July of 1989 and is now a cultural heritage site and is classified as a national tourist route for Norway. In Trondheim, you'll be treated to one of the best breakfasts in Norway before you set off on a sightseeing tour of the city and Nidaros Cathedral. This afternoon in Trondheim is free, and you can choose to either explore the city on your own, or you can actually attend the St. Olaf Festival that will be going on while we're there. So day 9 brings us to the copper mining town of Røros, and this is one of the towns that they used for inspiration for the movie Frozen. It's one of the 2 towns in Norway that were historically designated as mining towns, along with the silver town of Kongsberg. From Røros, we'll travel south to Lillehammer before the tour ends on day 13 in Oslo. Now, this is one of our longer tours at 13 days, but includes a number of destinations such as Bergen, Voss, Flom, Loen, Geiranger, Molde, Trondheim, Stiklestad, Selbu, Røros, Lillehammer, and Oslo. So if you're interested in learning more about Norway's Viking history, mining, World War II, its religious history, or farming, then this tour might fit the bill. So this is a really great educational tour, but you will also enjoy a variety of Norway scenery. Visiting Røros and attending the St. Olaf Festival in Trondheim truly make this tour unique. So if you want to spend a little extra time in Scandinavia, then you can simply ask us to arrange a tour extension. We'll work with you to create a customized tour package to any of the Scandinavian countries, Russia, and beyond. In addition to our escort tours, we do offer a variety of independent travel options, including fjord tours, self-drive tours, adventure tours, and winter packages. Our independent travel options can be found online, or if you prefer to have a customized itinerary plan just for you, I would ask that you contact our office. And these are just some of our popular independent packages, just to kind of give you an idea. We have Norway in a nutshell, which is, of course, always popular. It can be done as a 3 or 6 day tour. You can also customize this package to include additional nights along the way. Nordic Delight includes visits to the Scandinavian capitals of Oslo, Copenhagen, and Stockholm. You can also add extensions to Helsinki, St. Petersburg, Russia, or Norway's Fjord country. Iceland has become a frequently requested destination in the past few years, and one of the best ways to see this country is to rent a car and drive the ring road which circles the island. And this can be done as little as 9 days or as many as 16. You can travel to Tromsø, which is situated in the heart of Norway's Northern Lights zone for fun and adventure on our Northern Lights Explorer. This is a great way to experience the Northern Lights. And for those looking for a winter adventure in Iceland, there's Iceland's Land of Northern Lights. It's a short getaway with visits to South Iceland, which is an ideal location for hunting the Northern Lights. And like I said, for additional packages, please feel free to visit us online. And one more independent option that I wanted to talk about was Brekke's Fjord Retreat. And this is located between Flom and Ireland, which is, of course, along the Norway in a nutshell path, and it's in the heart of the Fjord country. This is a vacation apartment. We have 3 bedrooms there. It sleeps up to 6 people. It overlooks the Ireland Fjord, and it has an equipped kitchen, so it gives you the option of preparing your own meals. It can be booked at a weekly rate or for a minimum of 2 nights. It's a perfect base for outdoor activities in the surrounding countryside, such as hiking, biking, kayaking, fishing, and more. So if cruising is your preferred mode of travel, we can also assist you with your travel plans. And whether you choose to explore the coast of Norway on the world's most beautiful voyage, or explore the kingdom of the polar bear, we're happy to help you by providing advice, travel tips, and more. So I just wanted to touch base really quick on Hurtigrut's variety of cruises. Of course, they have the Norwegian coastal voyage, which is a great way to explore the northern reaches of Norway. And they also offer a variety of cruise itineraries featuring Spitsbergen, Iceland, Greenland, Europe, Antarctica, and more. And in 2016, they're actually launching a new ship, the MS Spitsbergen, which will provide a different way to explore Norway's 1,200-mile coastline. And for more information about this cruise itinerary, you can give us a call or visit our website. We actually have the itinerary online. So Hurtigruten does offer early booking discounts, so if you're considering a cruise for 2016, now is the time to book and see some of these fantastic sites for yourself. And another popular cruise featuring Scandinavia is a Baltic cruise, with visits to Germany, Estonia, Russia, Finland, and Sweden. It's a great way to get a taste of the Baltic capitals in only 11 days. And this actually sells round trip from Copenhagen. So for more information about any of these cruises, or if you'd like to explore further cruise options, please feel free to contact our office. And so now we move into the heart of the matter, the Q&A session. So again, if you do have some questions, please feel free to type those into the little chat box down in the bottom left-hand corner. Before we get started, I'll answer some of those questions that people ask on the registration form, and we'll answer some frequently asked questions. So if you have a question that I don't answer, again, please put it down here in the box in the left-hand corner, and we'll get to you. So some of the frequently asked questions that we get asked a lot here in the office is, what should I pack? And Shar, do you want to take that one?
Oh, okay.
Wake you up over there.
All right. Well, the weather is always a good question. I always say that the temperatures, the seasons are, of course, similar to ours. However, the temperatures are not as extreme, not usually. One should prepare for rain, as that does happen in Norway. And it's always good to have layers of clothing. So that would be my recommendation. If you get chilly, you can always buy a Norwegian sweater, of course, to stay warm.
And I like to always tell my clients to, of course, bring snacks and medication and even over-the-counter stuff like aspirin, sunscreen, and a small day pack where you can put those sweaters that you have to pick up along the way.
Good idea.
And another question that we get a lot is, do we change planes? And on our escorted tours, we have airfare included from Minneapolis on Iceland Air. And so what you'll do is you'll fly from Minneapolis to Reykjavik, Iceland, where you will switch planes and then continue on to your final destination. So if you are traveling independently or you purchase your own airfare, that could, of course, change. But just generally speaking, yes, you will have to change planes. So, and where will I meet the tour guide? You'll actually meet your tour guide when you arrive at your destination airport outside of customs. So if you're arriving in Oslo, you'll meet him or her when you get to Oslo. So, and a lot of people ask about additional cost. So we do include breakfast and dinners on most of our escorted tours. Lunches, however, are usually left up to you. You can expect to spend about $5 to $15 per lunch in Norway, depending on how you like to eat. However, if you eat a large breakfast, bring a snack, and eat a decent dinner, you can really get by on just some snacks. And if you bring a bag of snacks with you, then that saves a little bit of extra money. Other expenses are usually of a personal nature, such as laundry, drinks at dinner, taxis, and any gratuities for the drivers and guides. I do recommend bringing a bag of snacks, such as trail mix, energy bars, chips. You can also pack an empty water bottle. The tap water in Norway is perfectly safe to drink, and you can save $2 to $3 on a bottle of water just by refilling it each day before you leave the hotel. So, and on the way home, you can use that now empty bag for your souvenirs. So, Char, I'll ask you this one. Do people in Scandinavia speak English?
Yes, they do.
Oh, good. So,
yes, they start early at a very young age, and one may find some of the elderly people living in the rural areas may have not had to practice as much as the younger generation, but they're listening to Norwegian or to American television. They're listening to American music, and they really are quite competent when it comes to speaking English.
All right. And another good question, when is a good time to travel to Scandinavia?
Well, it depends upon what one wants to experience. I have always enjoyed springtime in Norway. It's quite beautiful and quite intense as the fruit blossoms are coming out, various shades of green. It's lovely. However, you never know about the weather, and of course that's always the case no matter what season you're in. Summer, I've often had a good time with, or had good luck with weather, the end of July, the beginning of August. I've experienced lots of rain in the past. I also want to comment on winter being really enjoyable in Norway. If anybody's interested in a winter excursion, it's coming from North Dakota here. We're used to quite intense winters, but I've found winter to be very pleasant in Norway, and lots of fun activities that one can experience.
And that is true, and the Northern Lights.
And the Northern Lights, of course, yes. And the darkness. People are so fascinated by light during the summertime, but I'm also fascinated by the darkness during the wintertime.
So, and then another one that we get quite a lot is, do I need a visa to travel to Scandinavia? And traveling to Scandinavia only requires a passport. However, if you do plan to extend your trip to Russia, you will need a visa, which we can help you with before you set off. So, and now we will head to some of the questions that we had on our registration form. So, how much walking is required? And so typically on an escorted tour, you'll have 2 to 3 hours of walking, but it's really broken up in chunks over the day. At some stops, you may only have a 5-minute walk just to kind of get off and see something, and then you get back on the bus. And whereas others, you may be walking for 10 or 15 minutes. So I would recommend for those with mobility issues to give us a call, and we can kind of gauge what the issues might be and make arrangements as necessary, or just, offer some advice. So is traveling in September possible? And it certainly is. We can arrange independent travel to Scandinavia at any time of the year, really. Unfortunately, we don't have any escorted tours departing at this time, but if you're interested in cruising or traveling independently, we can certainly make that happen. And so, Shar, I'll leave this one up to you. Can I arrive early or leave late?
All right. Yes, that is possible. We have a number of people that wish to extend their stay and perhaps visit relatives, combine a tour along with a visit to relatives. And we simply ask people to make a notation on their application form what day they wish to depart or return. And one of our agents will be in touch regarding a price. We do need to create an air itinerary for you, and so we'll then contact you with that information.
So a lot of that is one-on-one.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It has to be dealt with on an individual basis, so therefore we just ask that you make a notation on your application form. And that would be if you wish to extend your stay, or also if you wish to come out of a different city other than Minneapolis, because our tour blocks are Minneapolis, but we can assist with airfare from different cities as well.
So, and another one, when will prices for 2016 be available? So I know we are working on them now, and I know a lot of people have been asking about that, but we are getting down to almost setting those, so probably within the next couple of weeks, right?
I would anticipate they would be available in a couple of weeks.
So, and of course, those will be up on our website first. It takes a little bit longer to print a brochure, but the website is easily updatable. So if you are checking that out, we will be putting that up on our website first, and then we'll be updating our brochure for 2016. So, and can we use frequent flyer miles? So in this case, you simply purchase a land-only package, and then you use the miles to cover your airfare. So that's certainly doable, and we have quite a lot of people that do that. So,
but you do need to make your own arrangements for that.
Yeah, and that is one thing to consider, because we do have transfers at specific times, for the group, and so we can either try and get, if you can arrive around at the same time that the group is arriving, then you can transfer with the group. Otherwise, then we can try and help you with independent transfers. So, and are the seasons the same as ours, which you kind of touched on a little bit briefly? Yeah.
Yes, they are.
So, of course, they do have 4 distinct seasons, and I know summer there is really nice. So, I am the warm weather type, so I prefer to travel June, July, and August. But
bear in mind that Norwegians have a saying that there's no bad weather, only bad clothing.
That is true. That is true. So, well, they have lovely Norwegian sweaters to keep them warm.
They do.
So. And
rubber boots.
Yes, rubber boots. So, and somebody did ask about the best route to the Lofoten Islands, and so there's actually a couple of answers for this one this year. I know we have our Land of Midnight Sun that will be traveling to the Lofoten Islands. And then, of course, Hurtigruten is a great way to experience the Lofoten Islands as well. It is a little bit harder to get up that way, wouldn't you say?
That is correct. Yes, one needs a couple of flights, or else you take a train to Volga and then you fly to Lofoten. Or you pick up a car rental and take a route around to get over to Lofoten. Of course, if you're traveling independently, I really think you need a car for exploration.
Right. So, and then we've had some people ask about the currency, and this one is a little bit difficult because each country has their own. So, of course, Norway has the Norwegian kroner, and Iceland has the Icelandic kroner, Swedish has the Swedish kroner, Finland has the euro. They're the only ones that's kind of different. And, of course, Denmark has the Danish kroner. So if you are planning to visit multiple countries, that has to be taken into consideration that, those exchange rates are all very different. And one cannot spend one currency in another country. So that is something else. So, and I do see we have somebody interested in the Ålesund and Dovre areas. So thanks, Janelle, for sending that, and I hope some of the information that you saw today was helpful. If we do have any more questions, now is the time to send those in. We must have answered all the questions because I haven't seen very many. Oh, here we go. Renting a car to tour on your own. Okay, there's asking about pricing, model choices, driving tips, parking, etc. One thing to consider, I know a lot with rental cars in Scandinavia in general, is one-way fees. So if you pick it up, say, in Bergen, and you drop it off in Oslo, you're going to spend an additional amount just to do that. If you pick up at an airport, that's an additional fee. So it really varies depending on where you're picking up, where you're dropping off, and the time of the year. Although all Scandinavia drives on the same side of the road that we do, so that is very nice. Although the roads are, I call them goat tracks because they're really narrow, but their cars are not as big as ours over here in the U.S., so that is one good thing. But
I always say driving in Norway, though, is not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah.
So especially if you're driving in the western Norwegian roads. They're improving consistently, but another consideration regarding pricing would be the automatic versus manual. Automatic is quite expensive in Norway, so that is a consideration. If you're able to drive manual, that would be the least expensive option.
Right.
You can also go on our website. We have a possibility where you can click on car rentals and put in some options with dates, and you can get a price and see the various size vehicles that might be available.
Yeah. And I know parking in the cities can be quite expensive as well. So that's something, too, if you're planning to keep a car for several days, checking out a hotel that doesn't require parking fees is a great way to save some money. And most of the time, you don't really need cars so much in the city anyway. So
I wouldn't recommend a car in a city. I mean, I've driven in New York City. I prefer that to the city of Oslo, actually. I've had parking fees, $120 parking tickets, paid $50 for parking at a hotel, and oftentimes you even have to, if there's parking available, and if you're willing to pay the fee, if you don't book in advance, that could be an issue. So I would strongly recommend picking a car up when you're leaving a city rather than to have it during your stay there.
Yeah. Do cars usually come with GPS systems? No, typically not. But I know through our supplier Auto Europe, you can rent them, and they're actually very reasonable. I actually had one this summer that cost me $40 for the 2 weeks that I had it. So it was quite, it did save us quite a bit of hassle, and so it was definitely worth the $40 because really all we had to do was pay for shipping. So, and because we booked the car rental through them. So. If there's any other questions, please go ahead and send those in. I'm gonna go ahead and head over, and that's if you do have any questions or think of something later. I'm always one of those that I have a ton of questions usually after I hang up. Then feel free to give us a call. You can also email us at tours@brekketours.com. or visit our website at www.brekketours.com. So we'll be glad to answer your questions on a one-on-one basis. So it doesn't look like we have any other questions coming in. So I just want to leave you guys with a lovely view of the Geiranger Fjord. So this could be your view waking up perhaps one morning in Norway if that's something you want to join us for in 2016. So thank you, Shar, for joining us today.
Yes, thank you, and thank you, everybody. We hope to have the pleasure of your company in 2016.
Yes, and if you do have questions, please let us know. We're hoping to maybe host another one of these again pretty soon. And, of course, our prices for 2016 will be coming out hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So just keep checking back on our website for future updates. And we hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. And we will hope to see you in Scandinavia sometime this summer.